Michael Jordan was carried by the league based on a simple fact of the premise. The premise of Michael Jordan, they got on board with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was never the agenda of the league. LeBron James was the agenda since he was in high school. When LeBron James was in high school, they put him in a white family's house so he can go to St. Mary's. He was never in that district, didn't even go to that school. So that he can go to the NBA, they protected him ever since high school. He tattooed the chosen one on his back since he was in high school. So they catered to him and gave him, he was the agenda of the league. Michael Jordan was never that coming into the league. He was just another gangbanger with speed and athleticism. Michael Jordan brought all this to the league. He's responsible for this league being what it is today. They're entirely two different players altogether. So they shouldn't even be in a comparison except for before and after. That's just it. They're not even comparable. It's not even, that's a joke. But the thing is that the NBA made a deal after 1990, and that's going to answer his question about the differences between the two. After 1990, the NBA went from CBS. The Pistons won their second championship, back-to-back championship. The NBA sold their rights from CBS and went to NBC. They went to NBC with Dick Ebersol inside the NBC with that great intro. Dick Ebersol normally does nighttime primetime dramas, and he did a great job making that damn intro every Saturday morning, and he had it in the contract that the Bulls play every goddamn weekend. Michael Jordan and the Bulls play every weekend. That was in the contract. And his thing was telling him and everybody that would listen is that you think you're in the basketball business. No. Michael Jordan is the protagonist and everybody else is the antagonist. He was making a sitcom. And his whole thing was the Bulls are the stars, everybody else are the villains. And that's where the NBA started to change. They had inside the NBA, Michael Jordan played every Saturday and Sunday. See, back then, you played Saturdays and Sundays no matter what. They ain't give a fuck about playoffs or nothing. You played 2 nights a week, that's just it. And nobody complained. It was what it was. Michael Jordan and the Bulls played every weekend. People just thought it was just what they scheduled. No, that was the same thing. Dick Ebersol didn't come there for Reggie Miller or Isaiah and the Pistons. He came to bought the NBC bought it for Michael Jordan. And they went from Coca-Cola as the sponsorship to Gatorade, which was Michael Jordan, right? Nike, he brought Nike to the NBA. Michael Jordan brought all this. He generated this in the league and turned it into a $1 billion industry. But LeBron James, same thing. They said, well, we could make another Michael Jordan. And they've been trying to make Michael Jordan ever since he left. So LeBron was going to be that catalyst. And LeBron James went down the damn razor blade of not being what they thought he was going to be. So what they do? They changed the rules, like they did for Michael Jordan. They made the flagrant foul rule in 1991 to help Michael Jordan win. The flagrant foul rule came in 1991. They were still getting their ass beat. Isaiah Thomas, we blew them out by 20-some goddamn points. Didn't even matter. Isaiah Thomas had surgery on his shooting wrist, which that was a career ending. He had a scaphoid injury. So the Pistons was basically done. So Isaiah didn't come back to the end of the season. When he came back, it was against the Bulls. We beat the Bulls. And we made it to the playoffs. The Pistons had the best start of a season of their history that year before Isaiah got hurt. We were going 3-peat. That was easy. Isaiah got hurt. That changed the game. He was hurt. And he was never the same again. His shot was never back to the way it was. His free throw shooting percentage had dropped from he was an 80% shooter down to 75. He was done. And the Pistons without Isaiah are done. They can't function without him. And going into the playoffs, the Pistons were not the team that the NBA knew. Like, we should have lost to the first round to Atlanta. But we didn't lose to Atlanta because of the simple fact is that they changed the narrative. And they let the Atlanta Hawks, we went 5 games with the Atlanta Hawks, a team that we would have beat any day of the week. They pushed us past them. Reps carried us. Against Boston. Boston had us beat. The Celtics beat our ass. We shouldn't even beat them. They carried us out of 6. They fed us to the Chicago Bulls. So our ass could get kicked by the Bulls. That was Dick Amber.
Spot, much like Magic and Larry had earned their spot. So it was good, and Isaiah Thomas is quoted as saying Michael Jordan was good for business.
Yeah.
So moving forward, as far as injuries, Magic Johnson would say that his hamstring is bad, and that's the only reason that they lost.
No, they lost when he was in it. He was getting his ass watched.
I'm just giving another side of the interview.
Magic was getting his ass whooped like he did the previous year when they fucked Zeke out of his championship with the Kareem foul because Isaiah and them was busting his ass. Magic Johnson.
We already know your views. We're just saying another point of view. I'm saying what would say that Magic would say, and he's on record of saying during a one-on-one interview with them, if he wasn't hurt, they wouldn't have lost. Now there's the other side that would say that if it wasn't for a questionable call against Bill Laimbeer, that the Pistons would have won.
They did.
Now, what I would say is what Isaiah's real beef should be with. It should be with Rick McCorn and Bill Laimbeer, because they take away from the great players that was on that team.
You are a Bulls fan, right?
I'm speaking.
Are you a Bulls fan?
I'm speaking strictly as a fan of the NBA.
Okay, you're a fan of the NBA, but are you a Bulls fan?
What I'm saying
are
is,
you a Chicago Bulls fan?
I'm Michael Jordan. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that answers this question because nobody in the history of mankind has ever played.
Can I finish my?
Oh, you weren't done? I thought you were done.
No.
Go ahead.
I'm saying a lot of what the beef Isaiah Thomas has with the national media, he directs at Michael Jordan when he really needs to direct it. Michael Jordan didn't direct them to be the bad boys. There's a difference between playing dirty and playing aggressive. I don't care what level of basketball you play on. Bridging is dirty, whether it be pickup basketball, playing on the crate, AAU, whatever. Bill Laimbeer is very guilty. Him and Rick Mahorn are very guilty of bridging people in the air. So, the dirty play by those two individuals took away from one of the greatest six men in history, Vinnie Johnson, one of the greatest complimentary guards in history, Joe Dumars, one of the first stretch fives, which I will give him credit, dirty or not, Bill Laimbeer was one of the best shooting big men ever. But the reason that they don't get acknowledged as much is because when you bring up the bad boy Pistons, it's always the dirty play. And if you interview John Sally tries to defer himself from that quote unquote dirty mentality. Dennis Rodman is one of the greatest players ever. He's one of the best defensive players I've ever seen. Definitely the greatest rebounder I've ever seen in my generation. I think those two players individually have tarnished the Pistons' name. And it's not just me saying that. The city of Detroit themselves don't acknowledge the bad boy Pistons.
Now, I've got to interject now because this is all a bunch of Chicago bullshit you're hearing right now. Let me tell you, nobody in the city of Detroit, they took Rick Mahorn after we won the first championship because he's a dirty player. No, he was the first player taken in the expansion draft the weekend the Detroit Pistons. That's why we didn't have Mahorn to come and defend the title. So yeah, defensive. All we do is just bridge people, right? No, Rick is result.
No, don't twist my words. I said all those two.
Two. So that's why he was the first player chosen in the expansion draft because all he does is bridge people. That's why when he went to Philadelphia with Barkley the very next year, they were called Thump and Bump, and they won the Atlantic Division for the first time ever. They won the Atlantic Division the very next year with Charles Barkley and them, and they beat the Pistons' ass all the time. They were Thump and Bump. They had the T-shirt Thump and Bump because all he do is bridge people. No, Rick Mahorn was good and great, and they knew that. And with him, we would have never lost. So they created the expansion draft, and it weakened our fucking team. And we had to lose. We had to choose between Sally and Mahorn. And we had to let Mahorn go because of his back injury. That's the only reason we let Mahorn go instead of Sally. Because he was always had back problems.
Okay.
Because of his weight. And we said, well, damn, we had to pick. We got to lose Spider or we going to lose him.
So why?
Oh, this is my pick.
So why is Mahorn and Laimbeer the two regarded dirtiest players in the NBA history?
Huh?
So why is Mahorn and Laimbeer regarded as two of the dirtiest players, and I stress dirtiest players in the NBA?
Written by who? The Chicago Bulls and everybody else that lost to them.
No, don't defer from the question. Why are they regarded as the two dirtiest players? Why is Rodman?
Who is regarding them?
Why is Rodman, Vinnie Johnson? Why is no other Detroit players brought up but those two in particular?
Because those two was the definitive ones who was knocking people on their ass and playing defense.
Elaborate on knocking on their ass. Because there's a difference. Because once again, there's a difference. There's a difference between playing physical and dirty. Why are these two
we played physical and we played like everybody else in the league?
No. Everybody else foul hard. Nobody else bridged people.
Why you keep talking about this bridge? Like that's all we did was bridge people.
No.
You think nobody in the NBA ever did a bridge but the Detroit Pistons?
Yeah, show me.
Oh, we the only team that did a bridge. Chicago Bulls fans. See? Delusional. That's how it starts right here. So right now he's saying the Detroit Pistons are the only team to ever bridge people. So if you bridge somebody, that's what, a foul?
That's foul, period. F-O-U-L.
So if you do 6 of those, you eject it, right?
No.
So if you bridge somebody 6 times, Could somebody dig up 6 bridges
No.
from
No.
Mahorn or
No.
Lambert? Lambert's one of the
No.
greatest rebounders
No.
of all time. You know he's going to the Hall this year, right? Yeah, you ain't know that, did you? Yeah, so Lambert's going to the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so where's
So we got like
where's Rick Mahorn
3,
going?
4 Hall of Famers. God damn.
Where's Rick Mahorn going? I gave the Pistons a
Rick
credit.
had injuries, so he's not going to the
Look,
Hall.
Benny Johnson is one of the greatest 6-man ever.
Right. We had the greatest team ever. Would you not agree that we were a better team than the Chicago Bulls?
You deferring the question.
I'm not. I'm asking you the question. Do you think we were a better team than
Yeah.
the Chicago Bulls? Yes, we were.
But I don't agree
So
with the
that's
dirty
it.
play.
I don't care if you don't agree. The Bulls was dirtier than the Bulls.
No.
Yeah, the
Nobody
Bulls was dirtier than the Pistons.
That's
Yes,
why they
were.
changed. That is why they changed the rule.
No. They changed the rules because they want Michael Jordan to win. And that's a turnover. He's hurt. Williams broke his arm. But no, they changed the rules because they want Michael Jordan to win.
Well, back to my original thought. I don't want you confusing the audience thinking that they changed the rules to give Michael Jordan the advantage like he wasn't already.
They did.
Like he was already dominating the league. He was dominating the league before they changed the rules.
He was dominated from a scoring point. He wasn't dominated in a winning standpoint. He couldn't beat Detroit. If he was dominating from a winning standpoint, then he would have championship. But he wasn't because he couldn't get by Detroit. He didn't get by Detroit till they brought in the flagrant foul rule. That's a fact.
He didn't get by Detroit because Scottie Pippen wasn't the better player at the time than Adrian Danley or Mark Aguirre.
He never was anyway. Look, Scottie Pippen was an all-star in 1990 and they lost. So it wasn't like Scottie Pippen. Scottie came up with a migraine. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, dog. You defending people that don't need to be defended.
No.
Scottie Pippen.
No.
What he is.
We're not arguing Bulls versus Pistons. You're trying to twist that into that.
So what is?
We're arguing. You're arguing that the league is trying to help Mike, and I'm saying Mike had the spot
They did help
way
Mike.
before that.
They did help Mike. So without the flagrant foul, you think Mike wins the championship?
He was still dominating the league.
Do you think Mike wins the championship?
Yes, because y'all were done.
No, we weren't.
And y'all know y'all was done. That's why y'all didn't want to shake hands. Y'all didn't want to pass the torch.
But see, did I tell you? Documentary, Bull fan.
No.
We didn't want to shake hands. I just told him why we didn't shake their hands. Michael Jordan did an interview after Game 3 and started talking shit about the Pistons, talking about this the end of dirty basketball, all this shit on the Pistons
And
court.
why did he say that?
Because the NBA wanted him to press that agenda.
Okay.
They wanted him to push that agenda.
Okay.
It's the end of dirty basketball.
Okay.
All that
So,
bullshit.
did Michael Jordan, and I want you to stand on record, did he push the Jordan rules agenda, or did the Pistons do that?
A Jordan rule agenda? What you mean? That's our rule.
No, exactly.
That's our team defense against him.
So
do you
y'all broadcasted that we gonna play this certain kind of way to defend this certain guy. Y'all brought that to the mainstream.
I mean, yes, that's a team playing a team defense against a player. What?
Okay, so
The Jordan rule.
So my argument is
Yeah, it worked.
no. So my argument my argument is who else in the history of basketball have they created rules specifically to define?
I don't fucking know, but
I'll tell you, nobody.
okay, so what's the point? What are we arguing here?
The point is
I know why we created Jordan.
no.
I told you he was an offensive juggernaut. Did I not say that?
Well, my point is,
We had to address that.
the fact that you had to create Jordan rules is the man had his spot. The league didn't give him shit. He earned that. And I need you to acknowledge that.
I already told you that. We had no disagreements with that. The liquor is blocking your view from understanding me saying, okay, all right, okay. I understand that. He built himself to the position. Then I tell you he brought Gatorade to the NBA. Did he bring Nike to the NBA? He brought all that shit to the NBA. So I told you.
Well, because
he was the reason for that.
You're trying to defer it like they just gave it to him, like he didn't earn it.
They gave him a championship. Yeah.
Okay, they didn't just give Magic and Larry Converse. They earned that. Jordan earned that.
He earned it with his talents, but the NBA
you go.
championship was given to him. They put him in there with Magic. They cheated the fucking Blazers. They carried Magic Johnson to the championship so he could play. They could have Michael and Magic. You didn't know that shit? You don't know basketball, man. Go back and watch the Western Conference Finals between Portland and the goddamn Lakers. The Portland Trailblazers did not lose to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay, so
I'm gonna tell you that now. They they carried the Lakers. They wanted to have Michael and Magic.
All right.
And I understood that. Dick Ebersol was right. It was a market league. He was genius.
No.
He was genius for what he did. Like Isaiah said, it was good for business. We ate good on Michael Jordan. Because Isaiah, for y'all don't know, Isaiah was the president of the Players Association.
Yeah, I do.
So, I mean, they don't. So I gotta let them know.
All right.
So it was good for business to have Michael Jordan being the guy, but he was pushed. So they did put the way to have Magic and Bird. I mean Magic and Mike.
All right. So, do you think the league could have progressed with people getting bridged and clothesline the way it was going in the night? No. We're not picking on the Pistons. I'm strictly saying the league in general. The style of play.
Yes.
Why? Explain.
The reason why is because people like physical play. They like the NFL, right? The NFL is very physical. When they made it light, now look at the NBA today. It's real fucking soft, right? Everybody's saying, God damn, this game is soft as shit. I like the day when you can really hit somebody, right? We had that, right? NBA, what they saying, man, the ratings are down. Why do you think his ratings is down? Because people are playing this softball ass, goddamn cotton candy ass basketball.
All right.
So that's everybody want to remember back when people was laying people out in the lane. Right? Okay.
Here's my retort. So, in most negotiation, there should be a common ground. So,
And what negotiation?
no. Union in the league.
That's the loser.
No. Let me finish my thought.
Okay.
So, all right. If I want to say bridging is too far, hand checking should have still been allowed. That way, that physical play could have still been maintained without being overly aggressive the other way. Agreed?
I don't know what the hell you trying to do. A union rep goddamn league?
No. What I'm saying is, I agree. You're saying that they went too far when they took away the physical play from the league, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm saying is the middle ground would have been no more bridging, no more hard fouling, but hand checking could have still been allowed.
Bridging is damn near never allowed anyway. So,
But y'all created that.
No, he did not. And you actually like, no, you
Go look at the Bill Lambier made a career
are a goddamn Bulls fan. That's why you don't understand basketball. If you watch other fucking games, you will see everybody's on way worse than the Pistons. And they was doing any kind of...
No, I'm addressing bridging.
So bridging was way back in the fucking 70s and 60s. What you think they were doing back then? If you keep talking about what we were doing, they were doing that shit back in the 60s and 70s. You act like the Pistons, all they did was bridge people. That shit is fucking insane.
Why do you keep saying the Pistons? I said Lambier and Mahorn.
They were on the Pistons.
I'm singling them out for a reason.
Exactly, and show me one time either one of them did more than 2 bridges. Go dig up 2 bridges on Van Horn and Lambier and send it.
Jack Sigma will have something to say about that.
Right, go find that. Go find any time they were bridged, and then go find everybody else.
All right.
Right.
Well,
the earliest teams in the league was the Knicks and anybody else.
So
nobody cares about them. They care about us because we won a championship.
All right. I see you emotional about this.
It's not emotional.
But
It's just fact.
Would you say that Isaiah Thomas' legacy has been tarnished by the dirty play of Lambier and Mahorn?
No. Isaiah Thomas' image was tarnished because of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan decided to make them the enemy. Michael Jordan, who Isaiah Thomas has done everything for in life, has decided to think that he's just better than everybody else and he can do whatever the fuck he wants because he's Michael Jordan and his fucking celebrity up there. His ego started growing with his celebrity. Same
Don't
with
get
LeBron.
personal.
Not personal, just factual. Isaiah Thomas, he lived with Isaiah Thomas's nephew. His Michael Jordan brother and Isaiah Thomas' sister was best friends. They showed him around there. It's not personal. It's the fact. So they were actual best friends. Like he said, I made it easy for Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan came here from North Carolina. He didn't know nothing about Chicago.
This is personal.
Not personal. Isaiah showed him what to do in Chicago. They were friends. They voted for Isaiah Thomas to be the commissioner every year for the president of the Players Union because they dumb as shit. Isaiah's smart. So they said, well, Isaiah's smart.
I agree with that.
Let's let Isaiah be the president.
I do
so
agree.
if Isaiah's that bad of a person, Isaiah Thomas wouldn't be fucking
I never
in.
said he was a bad
I
person.
know you didn't. You said it's tainted by those two players, and I said no. It's tainted by Michael Jordan.
Continue to talk.
Because these idiot fans in Chicago who like the Bulls are understanding the Bulls can't win because they can't beat the Pistons. And Isaiah and the Pistons are better than the Bulls. Rather than address that they have a better team than the Bulls, and that's the reason why they keep winning, and the Bulls ain't shit, they don't address that. They want to acknowledge, oh, that's because we got bridged, or they hard-bound us. Motherfucker, you shooting free throws. What the fuck does you mean? So that just means your team ain't shit. Benny Johnson would come off the bench and hit your ass for 15. That's why he called the microwave. Because that's what he do. We had a better fucking team. And rather than admit that, they want to go to excuses. To find dumb shit to try to say why they
I've
need
already
to.
stated that.
So,
I said
exactly.
Benny Johnson was one of the
I know you did,
greatest
but
six
you at
men.
the end, you go back to this bridge and shit, and you blaming two players, Lambeer and Mahorn. I'm like, Lambeer and Mahorn. Mahorn was one of the greatest fucking rebounders and defensive players in the league.
No, Dennis Rodman is. But continue.
Red Horn was a difference maker. The very next year, after
His
we won the
difference
championship,
was that.
they took him and put him on Philly, and Philly won the Atlantic, and they beat the Detroit Pistons. They were the only team to have success against the Detroit Pistons. Was the Philadelphia 76ers with Johnny Dawkins and they had Daryl Dawkins and Hawkins. They had Dawkins and Hawkins, Barkley and Mahorn, and they was killing us. And they was killing everybody.
All right,
and the
Detroit.
problem is because Mahorn and Thump and Bump. So the very next year, they won the Atlantic Division from the Knicks. Whooped the Knicks every year. So if Mahorn, I guess Mahorn was bridging everybody in Philly then. That's just how he did it.
I just want to ask
You know what I'm
some
saying?
simple
That's what
questions,
I'm trying to
and
say.
I want you some straight answers. I
Okay.
don't want no stuttering. I don't want
Ain't
that.
no stuttering in.
All right. What plays did they run for Mick Mahorn? What was he good at offensively?
Oh, Rick Mahorn.
Yeah. Don't stutter.
Rick Mahorn is good in post. Like if you want to give him the ball in the post, for post up, power forward, basketball. He will back your ass down.
How many points did he score?
It's not about his points. You wanted him for defense, but Rick Mahorn can
Because
score.
I know for a fact that James Edwards, y'all using the post.
Yeah,
He
we
used to
have-
kill us.
We had Buddha,
Okay, Buddha.
and we had
And I know Adrian Danley used to piss me off.
Rick Mahorn shut down James Worth, so we could win the
No,
championship.
no, no, no. You're deflecting again.
Not.
I said, what plays did they run for Rick Mahorn?
It's no about plays being ran for Rick. It ain't about plays.
What
being
is his
ran.
assets as an offensive player?
As an offensive player?
Yes.
If we needed him to score, we
I'm
could.
listening.
If we needed Rick to score,
What could he
Rick
do?
could back you down and go up and score. And he could get the
Win.
offensive rebound and put back. That's Rick's job. Rick's there for defense. He ain't there for all that offense. We don't need that, but Rick could
Okay,
score.
so would you say out of everybody on your team that he was by far the worst offensive player on your roster?
No.
Which is maybe why that is the reason when the expansion draft came
No.
that they told the league to say you can take this bump because he really don't do nothing but just foul.
No, because he could score more than Sally at that time.
John Sally was a way more better offensive rebounder. He could run the floor. He
Yeah,
could
he
block
could run,
shots
he could block.
better.
Yeah.
He's
long.
way more, yeah.
6'11",
Yeah.
long.
Better defensive player.
Yeah, that's why we kept him.
Exactly. So
We let Rick go because of his bad back. But
No,
Rick
you
was
let
great
Rick
on
go because he was the expendable player. He was the worst skill out of all of the group.
No, he didn't. We didn't.
Name
want-
me somebody on the Pistons team he
We
was better
offered
than.
more players.
Who was he better
They
than?
wouldn't take.
You're the Piston fan, so who was he better than?
Shit.
Was he better than Sally? No. Don't stutter. I said don't stutter.
Yes. Better than Sally.
Keep a straight face when you
Better than Sally.
speak to the camera.
Better than Sally. I don't think there's any stutter in there. Better than Sally.
He's better than Lambert.
No.
Better than Booty Edwards.
No.
Better than Benny Johnson.
Well, no. That's not going to be the question. No.
All right. We're not gonna get to the starting lineup.
Oh shit. That was.
I'm just saying.
Kind of mixed the starting lineup.
Okay, so.
So what you gonna say? Was he better than Rodman at that
No.
time?
I wouldn't disrespect Rodman like that. He's not even.
He was better than Rodman at that time.
What?
In '89, yeah. In '89,
He was a better defensive player on ball.
yeah.
On ball defender.
On ball. Rick,
I want you on record.
Rick Mahorn was a better defender than Dennis Rodman.
No.
In
Say on
1989.
ball. I want you to
In
stress.
1989, Rick Mahorn
Say
was
it.
better on ball defender than Dennis Rodman.
right.
In 1989.
Overserved.
Now, let's go. Continue.
I don't even know where to go after.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean-
Because I know what I'm talking about and you don't.
Nah.
Rick is better on the ball. He knows how to frustrate you. He taught Dennis Rodman all the tricks of the trade that he used on the Chicago Bulls. He knows how to irritate people, how to grab people on the butt and squeeze. Just
No.
what the fuck you doing?
You talking
Yeah.
about nuances. We talking
Ain't no
about
nuance.
actually playing on the ball.
That's what I'm talking
guarding
about.
somebody.
He guarded James Worthy. You know who James Worthy is? He's all the
Yeah.
Famer, ain't he?
And I would.
And you
I
saw
would
what the
put-
fuck happened to
and-
James when he
and-
put on. He frustrated the hell out of goddamn James Worthy, and Worthy game was over. Worthy was killing. But once he put Rick Mahorn on him, next thing you know, he got frustrated.
All right.
What he wanted to do with Rick?
Okay.
People know who Rick was.
No.
Man.
So now we gonna deflect.
Okay, ain't nothing to really defect. Look, let me tell y'all like this. The Bulls ain't shit. They took Dennis Rodman, Edwards, and Sally and put them on the Bulls in 96, 97, and in 98. Like, the Pistons won their last 3 championships. The Bulls ain't shit. But yet, he wants to sit here and talk about
You
it.
don't want to pass the guard. I get that.
Pass the guard. What the fuck are you talking about? You still talking about this shake the hand shit?
No.
What are you
I
talking
said he
about?
was old. His wrist was hurt. I'm just going off what he said. He said his wrist was hurt, and he was done. That's what he said.
He was done.
Isaiah Thomas is on record saying that his wrist was hurt.
He
and
had
it-
surgery, skateboard.
Okay,
That's a career ender.
he's on record saying if his wrist wasn't hurt, he would have busted the Bulls' ass.
Exactly. And it
Okay,
was facts.
I'm just reporting the facts.
Right, and I agree with it.
Okay, so we can debate the semantics or whatever. The fact is that they lost, and I'm not arguing sportsmanship.
Okay.
I'm done with that.
All right.
I'm saying we moved on. So let's defer with what you're saying with LeBron as far as picking guys, right?
Okay.
So one would say that Adrian Danley was a damn good player.
Adrian Danley?
Yeah. One would say he was a damn good player.
He was at one point.
And one would say that Isaiah Thomas picked his childhood friend from Chicago, Mark Aguirre, to replace this damn good player because they had a difference of opinion. And Adrian Danley has been on record to say that this, quote, Adrian Danley, this piece of shit, so be out. And bro, so when you say LeBron, so when you say LeBron,
Jacked up.
so when you say
Jacked
LeBron,
up. Jacked up.
Stafford hung his ass out the draft.
Yeah, he did. Jacked up, baby.
so
Woo, look at that now. He fucked that up. That's on him. Oh.
He is.
Oh, yeah.
You see
He'll
the
be
knee?
out.
You see the knee?
Oh.
so when
Yeah.
so would it be will people be wrong to say that Isaiah Thomas will be the first to kind of start picking his team, stacking the team?
I'm glad we get the Chicago Bulls thing here.
I'm just asking
I'm glad. Okay.
I'm not taking sides, I'm just asking questions.
Because he don't know basketball
I'm just
history.
asking questions.
He don't know basketball history. He's not old enough.
I'm just asking
I know you do. So I'm gonna answer your question for you. See, I'm gonna ask y'all this right now. Adrian Dantley led the league in scoring when he was in Utah. He was the #1 league scorer in the league. Led the league in scoring in Utah, and they get traded him. You know why? He was a problem teammate. So they traded him to the Dallas. They traded him to all these other teams. Wherever he went, Adrian, this is before the Pistons traded. He was with Utah. He was the #1 scorer there. He was #1 leading scorer in the NBA, and they traded him. Who trades the #1 leading scorer? So I'm just telling you, when have you seen a #1 leading scorer in the league get traded?
I'm saying.
I'm telling you, when have you ever seen that? You've never seen anybody lead the league in scoring and get traded the next season, do you? Right, okay. So he was in Utah. He caused problems. And it was why they said, well, Adrian Dantley's a problem. He caused problems in the locker room, and we had to get rid of him. So he goes from Utah, he goes to another team. Same problem. He comes to Detroit. He comes here with a bad reputation of being a locker room problem. He comes here, and what did he do? He wanted to be Adrian Dantley's team and think he's going to take the team from Isaiah Thomas. Okay, now where does that make sense at? They traded, they said, look, he got into it with Chuck Daly. Documented. Him and Chuck Daly had a big fight because Dennis Rodman was coming up and he didn't want Dennis Rodman taking his spot. And Chuck wanted Dennis on the court more. And he was like, nah, I ain't coming off the court. Y'all ain't running my plays enough. Y'all, it's Isaiah want to do this. It was Chuck. So him and Chuck Daly had a falling out, and they had to get rid of him. I know Adrian Dantley. That's because you listening to him. Why don't you tell him why the fuck did you ask Adrian Dantley why the fuck you ain't on Utah? Why the fuck you was the lead scorer in the league and got traded?
Why would I not listen to this man? Why
wouldn't you? Right? Well, good. Listen to
as a reporter, you're supposed to go to the source. There's no better source than the man himself.
Right. And
the man himself said Isaiah's the reason he's on the team.
So you want to go just ride with that, right? And in fact, show you different, don't it? Chuck Daly told all the writers, which is facts, that what? Adrian Dantley wanted what? All the reporters said him and Chuck Daly got into it. They got into a big fight. They said, we got to get rid of Adrian Dantley.
What Adrian Dantley said?
And so Adrian Dantley said he's known for being a fuck up. Did Adrian Dantley tell you why he ain't in Utah? Why the fuck he ain't in Utah? No, exactly.
No. Don't
he
defer.
It's not
Ask you. No.
What
did Adrian Dantley say?
Adrian Dantley said. It don't matter what he said.
It does matter.
It don't. I wire up with the
I'm
facts.
a reporter, so I gotta.
You're not. You're picking a side because he said some shit that you agree with. That's all you want.
What did Adrian Dantley say was his departure with the Pistons?
I don't give a fuck what he said.
Okay. You don't give a fuck. That is your opinion. So I'll tell everyone else, whoever else gives a fuck.
You just told them what he said. And what he said is
he said Isaiah Thomas.
Right, exactly. And that's bullshit because that's not true. And the thing is, his ass is up out of there because of him. And that's why. The same reason why Utah got rid of his ass. The same reason why. Nobody gets rid of a leading scorer in the league. You the leading scorer in the league, and they just get rid of you.
But you still haven't addressed the why.
I told you why. He's a problem. And it was a better decision.
What's the problem?
I told you wasn't paying attention. Dennis Rodman was coming up, and Chuck Daly wanted Dennis Rodman on the floor more for defensive purposes. Adrian Dantley wouldn't come off of the field.
You looking right at it, you motherfucker.
Oh, I saw a great defensive play.
Man, that wasn't no great defense. I saw a great defense.
No, he didn't. That's football. That is football. That's defense.
Are you kidding me?
That's called defense. That's right. I need to drive too.
Bad officiating, man.
So his knowledge is flawed. Adrian Daly, and y'all look it up. He's a problem in Utah. He was the #1 leading scorer in the NBA, and they traded him.
Don't deter the
It's
audience.
not deterring. It's telling the
Go
fact.
to the question that I asked. The question I asked is what was his problem with the Pistons?
His problem was the Pistons, and I keep telling you, as I told them, and they gonna hear it, your ass is drunk. Dennis Rodman was supposed to play more. Chuck kept putting him in. Adrian Daly don't want to come off the floor. But Dennis Rodman. Now, where does that make sense? Now we know who Dennis Rodman is, though, right?
Because he's the better offensive player.
Don't matter. Chuck says, get your ass off the floor because you costing us fucking points. Get your ass off. We want Rodman in. And he was like, nah, he waved Rodman off. Nah, I ain't coming off the floor.
Okay, so
and that
what-
led to the argument
okay.
with him and Chuck. So
So-
don't wave me off.
So what offensive player?
So where's that
and they-
Isaiah for? If him and Chuck is having a fight on the court against the Boston Celtics, this is a game. Everybody can
Because
look up.
Isaiah is the captain of the team.
Don't
He overruled.
No, Chuck Daly is calling that shit.
Don't
Chuck
do that.
said Rodman on the floor.
Don't do that.
No, Chuck
So
Daly.
I'm just
called
supposed to ignore that because
No, that's you ignoring the idiot.
because Mark Aguirre and Isaiah Thomas have a childhood relationship.
Yeah, they best friends from fucking Chicago.
Yeah, so I was just supposed to
So we
throw
got
all
an
that out the window.
Mark was having problems in Dallas. He didn't like Rolando Blackman, who's a fucking overrated OCD.
No, all-star guard. Don't get stupid.
Rolando Blackman was
Don't
an
get stupid.
all-star, overrated OCD.
Don't
bum.
get stupid.
And
All-star along with
OCD
Ron,
bum.
along with Ron Harper. And
Along
Sam
with Ron
Perkins.
Harper, Sam Perkins, and the guy who was really scoring all the points, Mark Aguirre. And once Mark left, they wasn't shit. So let me tell you right now, Mark Aguirre said, I ain't gonna stay with these fucking bums no more. I'm ready to go. So they was like, cool, Mark ready to be traded? Let's
You know
get
what it
Adrian
sound like?
Daly up out of here.
It sounds like two
We got a
people-
problem over here.
Yeah.
It's two people with a problem, and they said we got a solution. Let's get rid of this
That's
motherfucker,
cool.
and we take your
That's
motherfucker.
cool, but don't you
And
go
that's it.
shitting on Rolando Blackman like you
I am
was
shitting on Rolando Blackman because he was an OCD bum. I know him. See, this I tell you, I know the game. He just a bull fan.
Rolando
Yeah, I
Blackman
know
and
about
Ron
Rolando
Harper,
Blackman.
they had a damn good backcourt.
And Mark Aguirre. No,
Yeah.
why are you talking about Mark?
Derek Harper.
Yeah, Derek Harper.
And Sam Perkins was damn good too.
Yeah, but you forgetting who? Yeah, Tarpon. Yeah.
Also from Chicago.
Tarpon was always smoking. He was smoking then too. But let me tell you something about who was the reason they were there. Mark Aguirre.
No, sir.
Yes, Mark Aguirre was.
Look, man, just address the issue.
Rolando Blackman was
Isaiah
an
Thomas
OCD for daddy.
Isaiah Thomas wouldn't grab his boy. It's cool.
No,
Isaiah Thomas wouldn't grab
that's
his boy.
what you want to hear because you're a Bull fan.
Say it again. Yeah,
Bull
too.
fan. This is Bull fans logic. It ain't facts. I told you the facts. You just don't want to believe the facts.
Yeah, they gonna win that. I got Rams plus 7.5.
I probably should have took 7.5 too.
Oh, you got 7.5? Oh, you good. There you are. Because Detroit finna kick a field goal. They gonna win by 4. Nah, he ain't gonna throw no pick here. Yeah, there we go. Get down here, kick this field goal, make it. They're gonna make it a 4-point game and kick this field goal and win by 4. And I'm on to the next.